these three SBA EIDL loan, PPP loan, employee retention credit alternatives up to $2 million and above are going to rock your world. Hi, this is Michael with Viral Funding Solutions. I'm an expert business loan broker, and I want to quickly get into what are these services where you can get up to $2 million. How about $500,000? But I'm going to begin with getting longer terms. That's what everybody wants. Longer terms, lowest rates, maximum funding. So I'm going to begin with that portion and I'm going to work my way down. So I'm going to go through these three: credit, cash flow, collateral. You either have one of these three, two, or all three. Or if none of them, then we work on trade credit, vendor credit, store credit, fleet credit. Everything that will build your business credit profile together with net 22s, net 30s, whatever they are, revolving credit, and much more. In fact, if you want to learn how to establish your business credit so you can be deemed more credit worthy and more lendable, and you get accepted by an SBA loan, a bank term loan traditionally or online, then I'll leave my free business credit building video series for you down below in the description as well as in the bio. So let's begin here. You want 30-year SBA EIDL loan rates or terms, and you want the maximum amount of funding. Let me get $2 million, and this is what I got. So let me be honest with you. If this is your first time getting funding or it's not, and you're looking for those 30-year amortized home mortgages or other types of commercial real estate and so forth, those aren't applicable to this industry. So this is not a traditional ARM. This is not how those work. It's not amortized that way. And a lot of people go, well, I want those home mortgage rates. I want those as the lowest I can get. I'm not willing to go above 8% on a prime rate. And if it's not 8%, then I don't want it. So right now, the prime rates are around 8% plus an additional. So if you're going to get an SBA loan, that's where we're going to begin. You normally see up to 25 years with real estate, without amortized up to 10 years. Working capital, growth and expansion, payroll, buying a business. Even then, you can see 5 to 7 years, if not 7 to 10 years. And there's also seller financing. Might shorten the term a little bit. That makes the total overall cost of financing much greater. But see, that's your decision to make at that point to see if somebody can help finance the deal for you too. So the SBA loan 7A, that's one to go with. The SBA 7A loan, there's a 504 loan, there's the 8A mentoring program. There's quite a few of them. But again, these are amortized over 10 years without real estate and low interest rates. Right now, prime rates affected by the Wall Street Journal prime rates. So WSJ, we have 8% plus 2.75. Sometimes it's 8% plus 3.75 if it's a lower amount. If it's like an express loan, a micro loan, the rates tend to go a little bit beyond 2.75. So you might hear a prime rate plus 1.75 to 2.75 or 1 to 2.75. It's normally that plus 2.75%. So somewhere right now around 10.75%. And so it's very attractive still when you consider everything out there. But I'll go into another one here in a second where you can still get longer terms by just offering up collateral. But yes, the SBA does require you to do credit, cash flow, collateral. You normally have to have all three. Well, I don't want to pledge my home property. Well, okay. Do you have any other form of real estate? Any other form of heavy machinery equipment, the right equipment, unpaid invoices, or what else can you offer? So a lot of the times they will ask for property, and if they have to put a lien, that's okay. They got to collateralize, they got to use your home, and that's what you want to use for an SBA loan. And if it makes sense, then you would go in that direction. So the SBA is only one option of many that can go up to 10 years, if not up to 25 years, amortized with real estate included. And I'm not going to get into the whole specifics, but you do have to have profitability, have historical tax returns, cash flow for your business. It does have to be cash flowing positive. And I can do all the numbers in case you guys were wondering. If you guys need help with the numbers and so forth, I can handle that on your guys' behalf. But understanding what qualifies and what doesn't qualify, that's very important. Stronger credit, 675, sometimes 660, sometimes even underneath that with the most better cash flowing businesses out there. But 660, 675, 680 and above is generally what you want to see. And if there are multiple partners, both will have to guarantee, or the guarantors of that loan normally see specific partnerships. And so they have to fill out a specific PFS form separately and so forth. Hello, how are you doing? Welcome in. And so that's a part of the SBA loan. You have the revenue requirements, normally $150,000 for lower tier SBA 7A microloans. Sometimes the express loans you see around that, but normally about $300,000 or $400,000 in annual gross revenue is a greater requirement that we want to see so you can service the debt properly. Business liquid credit does matter. That's important. I can go into this subject even deeper, but let's just say that, okay, we have the SBA loan, and I'll leave this information. I may leave a free document for you in the bio or in the description down below. And if not, or if so, in addition to, there will be a questionnaire you guys can fill out, where once it gets filled out, it takes literally less than a minute. I was updating it just yesterday. I was putting a few fields in, and you can fill it out literally in less than a minute. If you have what you need, you can give me some rough estimates too. And then once you submit it, you'll come to my thank you page, where there should be a video at the moment that will break down for you my processes, my systems, my automation, my ways of doing things, and why I'm so efficient at what I do. I don't think you guys are going to come across another business loan broker, and I'm an expert in this, by the way, who does it the way they do it. And again, this is because I have my digital marketing agency, lead generation business, affiliate marketing in the health space, and a few others, that later on I came into this space knowing what I knew there, and I tried taking bits and pieces of those components because I'm very system and math oriented, and I put them here, and I said, how do I become very efficient with my energy and my time without being on a call every single day? I was in a meeting earlier where these people are like, if you're not calling 20, 30 people, get out of here. Or there's other ways, if you cold email, like sharing very general things, and I go, those are people I can't even trust. Those are people who mean well, but it's like, I'm an introverted person and I don't always have to be on calls. There's a time and a place for it, but that's why I have people submit the questionnaire. That way I can have a better understanding of what you bring. And I love the emotion. I love that. That's what I'm all about. The person, the human, the fire. But at the same time, it has to make sense. Why do you think I don't get on calls 20 to 30 times a day? I'd be out of my brain doing this if I was doing that so many times, getting inbound, doing outbound calls like that. And as opposed to how other people do it because they're extroverted, or even if they're not extroverted, there has to be a time and a place, and people don't have built the systems that I have and the discipline in how I do things. I prefer to write, I prefer to put things together, and you'll see when I send you that email response back with your best funding options, you'll see why it makes sense. You're going to look at that email and go, whoa. And it's really going to break down everything for you. So the next thing I want to jump into, and we'll get going here, I'll go to the comments if anybody has anything. So in about 5 minutes, give me that please, and then I'll let you guys go on your way. So underneath the SBA loan, you have bank term loans, online bank term loans, traditional bank loans, FDIC backed. You have quite a few things. And business credit cards, we can start putting them underneath the banks and all. But here you get somewhere around 2, 3, or 5 years, sometimes 7 years with your repayment choice. So while you're not getting 10 years per se, you're not getting 25 years amortized with real estate, whatever that real estate is component, commercial real estate property, other commercial real estate that's factored in. But you're getting your choice a lot of the times of 2, 3, 5 years. And even then it's not your choice because the minimum requirement to get in with these, it's 2 years time in business, because we're going to ask for at least a minimum of 2 years of personal and business tax returns. We're going to do a global debt service coverage ratio, cash flow analysis. We're going to do a DSCR, just not on the global, personal and business. Global business debt service coverage ratio, global personal debt service coverage ratio. There's a few things. So I do these numbers myself with my team. I can look at them once I have the financials. I have the personal and business tax returns. I have the year-to-date personal financial statements. Oh, excuse me, that's for the SBA. I was thinking PFS. Year-to-date profit and loss. And I was talking about PFS earlier today with a client of mine because I'm trying to help them get an SBA loan. It makes most sense to them and it works. So that's different. That's a personal financial statement where I can have a better understanding, and I have communication with my lender on all this. Just so you guys know, this is very legitimate. I do not waste my energy and time. So what happens is you get 2, 3, 5 years normally, and it matches up with the length of time in your business. So if you have 2 years minimum, a lot of the times you're just going to get 2 years. If it's 3 years, you might just get 3 years. If it's 5 years, 7 years, at most you'll probably get it's 5 years, maybe 7. It doesn't always work that way, but at most 5 years. Just think about what could 5 years of a loan do for you right now. Think about the percentage of the money you're going to use it towards. Working capital, refinancing debt, It's not normally applicable to startups, but you're saying already, hey, I spend about 40% of my money goes towards payroll. Okay, what about the other 60%? What is that divided into? And then I can see now why it would make most sense to do this kind of an option as opposed to, let's say, a quote unquote hard money loan where you're going to get 4 to 24 months. And those have its place. I'm going to get into that in a moment. I'm going to round up the video with that. But if you're telling me you need this, okay, what's your credit percentage? What's your utilization? Even with high utilization but strong credit, then we can still take a look. It's still based on cash flow. We have to make sure that if it's not a periodic or if it's not too much of a trend, or we're going to see you're going to have to be paying a lot of credit card issuers or whatever that case be, and a lot of your monthly payment is already being divided into that, we have to look at it per case basis. So sometimes with too high of a utilization, we may be able to discount that, but there's times where we could just let it go through. Other times where it's per file basis and the cash flow, the profitability, the number to service that debt on top of the debt we are going to give you, especially if you're not refinancing that debt that we won't include, we have to think about those things when we're going through it. So it's per case basis. I actually was just helping out somebody earlier with the bank term loan product. So that's 2, 3, 5, 7 years. 7 years normally not it. 2, 3, 5 years is normally what you see in these. Sometimes it can go 7 to 10, but those are the extreme circumstances. Normal approvals from around 30 or sometimes 20,000 to 250, if not 20 to about 350,000. And a FICO SBSS score, business liquid credit assessment, will be given. So we'll look at that also. We'll review. Make sure you guys are monitoring your business credit, whether you can see this score fully or not. The lenders have their own assessment and how they detect personal and business credit. They have their own ranking system and how they see things, and then past data provided. So make sure you guys are monitoring business credit. I just asked somebody the other day, I see you do have business credit established. Now, what does that mean? How does that look like? How much of it? Well, I just put up my profiles and I did. Okay, so you've been in business for how long now and you have a bank loan? So something has to be getting built, or a bank line of credit, or whatever you did to merge, something has to be getting built. And now over the time you've had that line of credit, has that been properly reporting to the Business Credit Bureau or the Business Credit Bureau, to wherever it is reporting to? So if you're not monitoring that credit score and you try to apply for these SBA loans, let alone you're somebody in a financial hardship, and this is going to come into the equation right here in a second. Guys, I know my stuff very, very well. I know maybe you're not questioning it, but I want you guys to understand, and I come from a position too of running multiple businesses that I funded, and I'm also somebody who in my younger 20s, I was there in a 9-to-5 position. I don't want to go into this, but I was in a financial logistics position where I couldn't move up more and get paid more. I was getting underpaid. I stayed there for more stability reasons, post-academics. I went to school, university, community. I studied different subjects. I went into chemical engineering for a little bit, and then I went into business administration thereafter. And so think about the positioning you are in to get this from somebody who's been through this already. I've worked in I worked in the manufacturing, the construction, the warehousing. I was even a ramp agent in my younger 20s back in the days. And I wasn't given that cubicle room, the financial, the chemical space. I love chemistry. That was my favorite class, by the way. I liked being in the lab, and I was very good at it. And so I should say I am good at that. But the thing is, you evolve over time, and you just have to make sure you guys are keeping track of everything, first and foremost. So that's a little bit of the 2 to 3 year. I have my document here that I can go through everything on it. Just wanted to make sure it was handy, but I don't want to go through it right now because there's a lot to cover with those types. And I'm going to try to leave a document, but if not, a questionnaire. You guys can go ahead and submit it. I'll leave it in the description. You guys can also visit viralfundingsolutions.com and begin there. I know I said 5 minutes and I'll come to the comment section, so I'm going to do it now. But go to viralfundingsolutions.com, and I know we're past the 5 minutes. I don't normally speak like this. I do speak a lot slower at a slower tempo, and that's good because you want somebody who's giving you the information correctly, don't you? You don't want somebody who's just spewing, rambling over their words. Was that a yum or a num? Was that a you know again, or was that a right? Okay. See, I know the psychology of a lot of this. Viralfundingsolutions.com with an S at the end. So here, let me go to the comments. I did see one up here. And again, I'm never aggressive. I've never been negative to you guys. Really nobody. It's the other party. It's hardly ever me, rarely ever is me. It's not my personality or my characteristic traits to do that. I wasn't brought up that way. But in this space, it can get very nasty. Running a digital marketing, lead generation business, it has its pros and its cons. Affiliate marketing, it can be more passive. I can do it this way better. I can facilitate that a little bit easier, and it's more simpler to do it this way because I have many years of doing it. When it comes to funding, it can become very nasty. And it's a lot of dry stuff. Like, people have said it, and I agree with them. It is dry. Like, when you're trying to help somebody get funding, like, they don't realize it for themselves, so you have to help them realize it. And just very recently, I'll go to the comments again in a second. This is a quick story. And let me get into what happened this week. So just recently, I had a client who I'm trying to help them get funding, and they were given an offer for $10,000. And keep in mind, we usually beat, or I should say meet and beat most offers out there, even if you don't have one. We're usually the most competitive, and I say that with true belief and confidence in what I do. And I've seen people with different offers, and I go, they shouldn't have gone even to that lender. I don't know what they're doing there. Or over here, we're giving them a lot more, better terms at better rates, more or less, even better. But people still decide to do their own thing, or they didn't meet me before. And then they came through an application and applied, where they recently, one person just recently last week, took a lower offer from a terrible lender or from a terrible position as well. And the terms were just disgustingly terrible, like disgustingly terrible. I don't know. I didn't ask that person, like, why do they need that? At that point, they had just come in maybe through one of my systems. They hadn't actually consulted with me via email or similarly. So what they did was they just submitted an application. They went through the process. They thought, oh, I got an offer last week or so forth or whatever it was during the time we were trying to help them. They took something. But the thing is, they tried to add on top of that. It's only been a week. Most lenders don't want to lend to you within 30 to 45 days of a competing offer you just took. So what are you doing applying for more funding? Well, my business payroll, I get it. You're in a position where you need more money, but just adding more money on top of more money and adding more rates, adding more to the end of the month, you're paying that already daily, weekly. You're probably not even being able to make those payments. Yeah, you think taking an extra $5,000 or $10,000 to that $3,000 amount or so is going to help you when it actually does more harm. So why do you think we normally do not lend somebody within a week, within 2 weeks? There are those lenders who will, but am I saying they're right to? No. So don't misconstrue my words when people think that. And so, again, be very careful about who you guys are getting information from. So that's one part. I don't want to get too far into the story on, it's not really a story, but it's just factual information. And we were trying to get them an offer. We declined them when we did a bank verification check and all this stuff. Found out they took money, boom, killed the deal, done. And I had to get on the call with them. I didn't have to because I sent them an email, I believe, and a text. But, and I never want to get into that position to be that person, but I had to. I just said, and I say for future reference, just so you know what to do and what not to. See, they learn a lesson. And towards the end of the call, I had to let them know just a little bit. I wanted to pierce through. If they don't have it hurt, then there's no reason for change. Let me say that again. If it does not hurt, there is no reason for change. Lock that up, throw it away. And so many of you need to hurt so bad. And I don't mean hurt as in you're going to get hurt physically or anything like that mentally. It's just you're going to hurt. You're going to hurt through the process. And if you can avoid that, why not avoid it? And so I just told them, hey, I didn't want to say it. I'm like, I'm not the type of person who wants to say this, but if it's for their benefit, I said, pretty much you took a terrible offer. And I could tell in their tonality, they paused. It dropped like a ghost just appeared out of their body. Their soul left their body. And because I didn't want to say that, it's just, hey, I'm here for you, though. I told them. I'm here for you whenever you need it. You know who to turn to next time. You now know how this works more or less. This is just a lesson to be learned. That's it. Now, if you make the same mistake again, whose fault is that? I didn't say it like that, but I think you guys understand. So underneath, and I'll go to the comments here really quickly. Underneath this, then you have the 4 to 24 months. You have the collateral underneath the bank loans, and those can last beyond 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, etc. with the right collateral in place. Sometimes just 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years. But if you don't have the collateral to sufficiently get what you need, it's going to make it harder to get approved for the terms you're looking for, even beyond 10 years. Now, be realistic. If you can't qualify for these up here, you have 4 to 24 months. And this is non-collateralized funding. Keep that part in mind. And then you don't have to offer up any kind of collateral. You don't need to be at fault for something right away. You don't need to put a UCC lien or specifically on a property or in all business assets, a blanket lien. Or it doesn't have to look in a specific way. Unless you defaulted, then there's some repercussions of all of this. And there's times for when it's a UCC lien or a blanket lien. But for a lot of you, it's hard to think about how you use your money. I need 150,000, but yeah, you can only get approved for 20,000. So what are you doing with that 20,000 you can get approved for? Not, oh, I didn't get 150,000. I'm going to go find somebody else who can help me get funded. A lot of you are really like ego-driven, cockiness-driven, stubborn, hard-headed. I see it every day. And I'm not one of those. And if you have that, okay, something happened. Maybe it is in business. Maybe it's something afflicted by personal matters or some combination of them. And you're bringing this to your work. You're bringing this onto me. You're not bringing me solvable problems, or you're bringing me problems that I shouldn't even be, like your attitude and your effort. Those are problems. So if you don't have any of that, great. You leave that out the door if you do before we come into an application. Because I know by doing this over and over that bringing that into an application only causes problems. It only causes headaches. What it does, it causes friction. It causes resistance. See, when we don't have nothing to pull from, when we don't need that resistance and friction coming in, everything is smooth sailing. The sea, calm waves, or no waves at all. You see the sun set just coming down, and you're just out there letting the waves or the little coast just push you in and out. It's so peaceful and sound, and there's no worry in your brain at that moment. And so this is what happens, and the differences that I see, because character makes a big difference. And we're pretty much done. I'm going to get into personal credit, or you can use credit-based. Credit-based, you could do 1 to 5 years. So just keep that in mind, sometimes 5 to 7 years on those installments/term loans. And then I'll go to the comments here. You can also do 0% interest for 6 to 18 months with a credit line hybrid. And that's adding multiple business credit cards to the account and stacking them. And I'm not going to go through the whole process on that, but there are those options available. You can use credit-based, there's revenue-based, collateral-based. And if you go revenue and then you go personal, which one weighs better? I can communicate that with you in time. So think about those things. Character, reputation does matter, but your character matters more to me than anything. And to yourself it should. If you've been neglecting your own character for too long, if you've been avoiding that and you've just been working on your reputation, like I told business owners recently, I don't care if you're doing $2 million a month. I could care less really if you're doing $5 million a year, $5 million a month. And I didn't say it exactly like that, but I made a point in a story where I went into, well, the character of the person is the fundamental, and you're missing the point. See, you're ego-driven. You're just money-driven. You're not impacting anybody. You're not value-driven. You think you're value-driven when you're not. You're just selling a commodity. You have products and services that you need to deliver, or else you won't make rent. You won't make that mortgage payment. You won't be able to increase your revenue, your profits. You won't generate that income. You want month-to-month, those gross profit margins, etc. I see all of this stuff and I go, where's the value? In your product, okay. What do you know what other problems that person will occur or have if they were to purchase your product or service? Or what are you doing beforehand to prepare somebody before they take on that product? See, I see it differently as an entrepreneur business owner. A lot of you just see it as, I just got to run a liquor store, Michael. I don't want to make it as complicated. I get it. Everybody's in a different place. But the thing is, you have to start thinking more of relationships with those products and with those clients. If it's not on a business level, put it on a personal level. So business level, when somebody purchases your product for their business, or however you see it, B2B, business to consumer, or however the model is, what is that impact for their reputation? What is that impact for their character? How is this going to elevate their status? How is it going to take them from not feeling sexy, to feeling happier, to bringing up their health, their relationships, their own wealth? See, these are all the things that I think about. I'm always asking myself, what problems does Shelby, what problems does Juan have before he's even presented them to me? And I can pinpoint very, very well before I've ever had an email, a text, a phone conversation with someone, how this is going to occur and how this is going to go. Because I also have to know, and then two, I'm being energy and time effective so that I can also get out of that. Does that make sense? So let me go to the comments and we will close up here. I'll leave all information in the bio as well as in the description. So first and foremost, questionnaire first. I would submit that first before any consultation. The consultation, usually I have a Facebook consult. For those of you wondering, oh, he's not doing a call consult. Oh, not a Zoom call consult. Why? Why don't you do that? See, this is something I've said over and over again. It's not because I don't like being on calls. Well, I'm an introvert for one. I would rather not. I hate it when people go, can we call me? And I go, can we schedule a consult now? And I know if you're an introvert, you feel the same way, but I can speak very well over a call. I can deliver hard over a call, and very, very well. And I mean that in a good way. And so for me, I have to vet the person first. We can build and establish that rapport also on a personal level through a Facebook Messenger chat, through an email, through another mode of communication before we ever get into a phone call. Because again, it comes down to energy and time. And I get a lot of files, a lot of people coming to me who are just doing this. Let me speak sweet things into your ear. Let me give you my problems and my situation. And I love that. That's good. But does it ever result in anything? At a point, I cannot just be the information guy. I don't expect any outcome. I'm here to give you value without anything attached to it. But at a point, I have to say enough is enough. I have people who go, I want SBA loans, I want this. And then where do they go 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later? Hey, I'll follow up with you on this and that. No. See, this is why I do it the way I do it. Yet a lot of you want that phone call. I want that call from the receptionist. And if I have somebody who vets you through, I will have somebody who vets you through. But the problem I have with a lot of people is they want that exact direct call without anything else. So what I have people do is questionnaire first. And if you have, I'll get back to you as well as everybody else in here. Questionnaire. Here, I'll look at one example right now and I'll walk you guys through it very quickly before we get going. And I'll come back to the comments. Let me find one. So if somebody filled out my form here. This one's an older one. I have ones above it. But this one here is 4 hours ago. And this is because I was searching through my emails earlier. This was the one that recently appeared. And so here I have their name, their best email address, not, oh, I'm going to use another email or auto-populated. And then when you get a response back, you're like crickets. Your phone number, mobile preferred, because I send quick text messages to let you know, hey, I sent you this email with the subject line. Please open it up. Boom, boom. I know you get bombarded with a lot of emails. If this were important enough to you, guess what you do? Exactly. And so here, the funding amount that you are requesting, the time in business, is it years or months? You state if it's 5 months, 5 what? 5, I can't tell if you just put a number. 5 months, 5M, okay. 5Y, okay, makes sense. 1 what? You might as well just say Juan instead of Juan. Credit. FICO, Experian credits. Here I have theirs. I won't say it. FICO scores I may ask for. I say, hey, do you have a 670 above on all 3 consumer credit bureaus? Of course, the previous question to the FICO credit score, if you don't have that, then it wouldn't make sense. But you still input that section. And so you don't have it. Okay, that allows me to know that if you don't have that, what is in our best interest to do momentarily? Business credit. Yes or no? There's an option for that. Business, your monthly sales. And for FICO scores, you could probably put unsure if you don't look those up, which as a business owner, you should be looking those things up consistently. And so your monthly sales, if you're a startup, you won't have any, so you don't have to input that field. You can put a 0 even then. But if you are a business, again, none of this I'm using too. I'm not a creditor. This is not something that is going to be just sent to, oh, here you go. No. This is safe and secure with me. It's very confidential. And so here, your monthly sales. Okay, what are you doing? 20,000 on your lowest month in the last 90 days? State that there. What's your average monthly revenue in those last 90 days? Last 6 months, I may have a section for that. Okay, you're generating 15,000. So you had slow months, you had high months, you had infrequent months. All right, right now, what is your revenue? Okay, current monthly revenue is this. All right, now, so you're saying that 3 months ago, you were at 15,000. Then the middle month, you were at 20. And then you're back to 15,000. See how that looks like to a lender? If you're doing 15, 20, 25, guess what? That looks better. Increasing revenue trends. And it's more important in increasing revenue trends and decreasing in all this when you're looking at bank loans, SBA loans, if you guys didn't know. And a decline in a barrier to approval is declining revenue, unfiled tax returns, multiple liens, too many liens, and so many things that you guys are over leveraging yourself on. Well, I think that if I took this route, but I don't want to put a UCC lien. I don't want my home to be collateralized. Well, what are you doing? What are you giving up to get that loan? Oh, I wanted 10 years, 20 years because of, with the SBA loan, I had to collateralize and I had to. Well, what are you giving up? That's the question. And if you can make the repayments. Average monthly revenue, average daily bank balance. This person didn't state it. Well, they should have stated something. Maybe they didn't have any. I got to read through the rest of it though. And then annual gross revenue, drop down. They need to use their funding for inventory. Existing business loan, yes or no? They stated no. Okay, great. Business industry, got it. Business name, okay. I can even do a search. Hey, are you listed with DNB? Are you listed here? Where are you listed? Do you have a web presence? You don't even have anything. Like, you expect to get an SBA loan and you don't think an SBA loan lender is going to look at all this stuff? If I'm already looking at it, I'm the gatekeeper before you get into an SBA loan. I don't have to usually check in with my lender to ask them a question unless the market changes. I spoke with them various times today on different preferred SBA loan lenders. I spoke with some of my other lenders today. Had a meeting earlier in the week. So here I have a section on please describe your financial needs. And I go into this and they go into it there. See, them not telling me their actual like month-to-month revenue, like they didn't even say in the describe your request field, hey, I don't have any money that I'm generating for the last 90 days. Okay, that doesn't help me. So here is a file where they have somewhat good credit. They're getting in there. They have fair credit, but I don't know if they have revenue. Like, what is that annual gross revenue requirement? I get it. Maybe they don't have enough on their last 90 days. Maybe it was just the recent month. But they've been established for that amount of time, over a year. So these are like, how am I supposed to pre-underwrite the file? Because that's what I do. I'll pre-underwrite your guys' files. I'm going to send you guys an email back. Here, I'll even detail what I said to somebody. Give me 1 second. We'll close up here in a second too. So this person here, 2 days ago at 10:29 p.m., this is how hard I work for you guys. I spent time at 10:29 to send this email. Hi, their name. It's myself, the business loan broker expert. I hope you are doing well. Thanks for submitting your details for, and I'm not going to get to all this stuff because some of this is confidential, but thank you for submitting your details for expansion funding on my site, Viral Funding Solutions, to take care of your real estate business or to take care of your consulting, your food diet business, your manufacturing business. I can go on and on. How are you doing and how's everything going for you this year? How's your business going? You feel free to respond back to that email too. Hi, Michael. How many of you actually go, hi, Michael, how are you? I hope all is well. I do that in every introductory with my lenders and every one of you for the most part. I go, hey, how are you? I hope you are doing well, and I mean it. How many of you actually mean what you say? How many of you actually say, hi, Michael, how are you? I hope you're doing well. I saw that latest video. I'm sure you're tired and exhausted, but I wanted to ask you a question. And so here, I appreciate what you said in the describe your request field about it being for like whatever they're needing their funding for. I went ahead and addressed that, and it's important for me to know what they're using those funds for. So then I go in here and say, hey, pretty much. So keep in mind, I know how to quote unquote pre-underwrite these files for the best lenders and underwriters out there of each and every product. I do see these things every day, so I know what to look out for through the lens of an underwriter and what lenders want to see. The best in parentheses I put. Even without knowing, without looking at the documents at this moment. And so before you get started with an application and go through the real underwriting process, once we get into the application, you'll know already. You'll be like, dang, this guy just showed me what I need to pre-qualify for, what it takes to qualify for that specific service. So I said here, right now, due to being a startup, your low monthly revenue, you won't get approved for most revenue-based lenders. You don't even have the minimum yet. And it's not, I didn't say it in an aggressive way. My tonality is coming up so you guys can understand that. And as I go through my credit-based lenders and organizations and qualifications, you likely wouldn't meet that criteria either. More on that below. You'll want to have at least this credit or that credit with this profile. We can't even do revenue-based. We can't even do collateral unless you're looking at a home equity line of credit or another form. But the home equity line of credit is what usually people default to. Did you know there's also 401k IRA financing? Yes, maybe, maybe not. And so here, Credit-based, installment, term loans, personal line of credit, personal credit card, and our business credit card combination. Can we do that? Do you have the credit requirements to meet that? And I haven't even asked for a soft pull yet. None of it. Like none of it. I don't even need to look at that credit report. You can tell me just by asking you, what's your highest personal credit limit and your business limit if you have one? Can you give me that answer? What's your lowest? How many cards? How much time have you built underneath those? Would it be better to build an increase? Would it be better to do it this way or that way? So you got to think about those things. So we can focus on a combination of things. So I told this person pretty much here, hey, we got to work on your credit. Can you do this on your own? What do you need? You only know by answering to. Or hey, you need credit repair? We can work on that. And it's very reasonable. The features and benefits to everything, the metro disputing process and everything that's very well regulated and everything that's taken care of for a lower cost, as opposed to spending a lot of money and not keeping enough money in your business or for your own pocket to use it as you choose with your family. You can go out and have a nice evening and a dinner. You saved an extra $100 to $200 for your family, yourself, your significant other on a date. And it's very, very cost efficient and effective. So for those of you who are interested in the credit repair space, then I'll leave more information on that in the bio. And I know all that goes on there too, by the way. So here, then I just detail just different things to look at based on their file, based on what they submitted. And collateral is just an extra component that I may have not asked for in that form, which is fine. I may change it a little bit and go, what kind of collateral can you provide? What kind of equity? I may ask that. I don't normally do, but I may change it. And so here, and even though it's not stated in that questionnaire right now, I can just know, and I can state here are the descriptions if you wanted to do collateral based, and boom, 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 boom. And so here, personal / business / startup loan option 1. I may leave you 3 to 4 or 5 options, and I'll say, hey, the first one, that's why I categorized it that way. Over here in this email, even before I scroll through all this, I go, hey, so I'm going to show you the lenders with their respective applications and documentation in this order and how I need to be having that requested. From the best options at the top, starting with getting credit-based funding in their file or your file. So it depends. I'll say revenue-based, collateral-based, and then I'll say, hey, we're going to lean into fast funding, which won't work right now. Plus, if you have other advances and your balances at this amount, boom, 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 this won't work. And a business line of credit, I'll state, nope, revenue too low right now, and I'll put it in parentheses a lot of the time so you don't have no doubt. And you go, well, I wanted a business line of credit. No, you won't qualify for that. And so here, I know that. To equipment-specific lenders, I may leave that open because you may or may not qualify, but it won't make most sense. Will be hard without a bigger down payment, and your credit is too low to approve in many cases. Collateral-based to SBA 7A and more. And I put won't work for this specific person because what? It could be the credit, it could be the revenue, it could be a numerous amount of things. But I have a plan where I say, if you can't now, what do we do to get you ready for it? See, I don't leave you here, but a lot of you are neglected. A lot of you are like, I don't want to use a different word, but orphaned. Let me just use orphaned. A lot of you, I ask, did you go through a legitimate broker? Or did you go to a person like myself? No, and they just applied and said, I'm like looking at certain people and I go, so you applied for an SBA loan with this? What did they do? Did they just submit you to, a third party just submitted you to the lender and that's it? What did they do to prepare your documents? Did they even look over the documents beforehand? So you already gave them all your information. I know that's going to result in a decline. I could already tell. And so I hope people, they learn their lessons, but then again, I hope they make them because, hey, that's how you learn, right? And so here, you don't have to make mistakes to learn, but that's an efficient way of doing it. And so here I go ahead and state, hey, so please stick with me to the very end so you can see your conclusion and roadmap. This is great stuff. Note 1, this email will or may be clipped because it's rather long. It's better to know what you can and can't qualify for so you're not left thinking you've seen it all. People love it this way. So if it is usually on desktop and mobile, sometimes mobile, desktop and tablet, sometimes mobile, please click to view all messages / email at the very bottom. Also, the options are separated by green headings. Note 2, remember, and I put this in red, like larger font, please read through this email thoroughly, especially at the top, because that's where your best option and options are. And there's a conclusion with what to do and a roadmap to grow longer term. You do not have to read all of it. It's going to be a big email. Okay, great. Don't get overwhelmed. It might be overwhelming at first, but you'll love why you get this email. You'll love it. You can respond back to that email. Sometimes people call me, and it makes most sense at that point to call me for clarity purposes and say, hey, Michael, I know who you are. I know who you are as a person, and that's great. I've been following you for some time, and I know your energy and time. I want you to maximize this, so I'll keep it short. Like when people do things like that, where they go around and they're not like stampeding and like impeding, and do you guys understand? And so here, the best options are towards the top to some of the credit-based options. It depends on your file. So I might say revenue, collateral-based, etc. combination. It may look different here. So credit-based options, option 1 through 401k, or I might say option 1 through the hybrid advanced term loan. Option 1, through the SBA 7A loan, or something similar to that, through equipment financing, leasing. Then you can see the conclusion and roadmap at the end of this email to see what to do as well for longer term and to do what you like to do momentarily. So here in green heading, I have the first option, personal business startup loan, option 1. Best option for personal/startup business funding, Please start here. If needed, get a cosigner / someone who is willing to apply with their own individual credit to take on the debt under their account if they are willing to help you. You can even meet them 50-50, increase your credit score, get it to that 680 at least level, if not 670 on all 3 consumer credit bureaus. But none of this yapping on, well, my credit is 600, my credit is 610. Yes, you may get approved for a business credit card here and there or a personal credit card, but you're not maximizing your potential on getting your approvals. You're going to get a very low starter card. And for a lot of you, that's not enough. You have to build the capital once and then get here and then do this. I see it every single day. We may need to do a round of personal that's better, so then we get your revenue up, we can clear these balances, and they get you in that position. I here go through everything. I'm going to come here in just a second. I go through all the options here. I'm not going to start talking about all of them. Here's another personal option. I leave that a second. I'll tell you if it's not yours. If it is yours, that's not the one to go for. And it's very, very detailed. Like very, very detailed. This one right here, this is stuff that you guys just don't get on the front end. Period. You won't get this stuff on the front end. Let me say that again. You guys will not get this on the front end unless I made a blog review. I made video content review and blog review content on many of this. But what I'm seeing right here on my screen, you guys just do not get this stuff. This is stuff that a broker gets. This is stuff where I'm in communication with the lender. Not, oh, I heard of OnDeck. I heard of Vox Funding. I heard of Barden. I heard about this one. And you're just going to go and apply. You're a B tier or C tier lender applying for an A tier lender. Really? Or you're an A tier applying for a C, D tier lender. And you're wondering why they're giving you what they're giving you. Or you shouldn't even apply for this service. Or you should have applied for it, but you didn't apply for it directly the way you needed to. That's the problem that a lot of business owners have. They click an ad, Lendio, Lending Tree. I know how all of that stuff works. You get trigger happy. Oh, I heard, oh yeah, they can give me 25. Okay. Like a dog just putting in the information in. And then when people later, they turn around and then come to me and go, hey, Mike, can you help me? I have 4 or 5 positions. So you want to refinance something you just took out a week ago. You have 40% interest on all this. You don't even have sufficient cash flow. You don't have enough of a debt service coverage ratio to cover the existing debt you have to refinance that debt with on top of new debt. So you're telling me, and I asked the person this yesterday, if you don't mind me asking, what did you use the current funding you have for? What have you been using this money for? And I found out that a lot of that money that they took out, somebody had 4 positions that were looking at a 5th position with me. All that money they were using it for, guess what? Payroll. That's a bad sign already. If all you're using a huge percentage of the money you're taking is for payroll purposes only, or just the majority of it, it's over 50% a lot of the times, 60, 70, 80%, you're going to the extreme. There's something going on in that business and something going on in that business model that needs to change. You need to either find newer clientele, you need to start trimming your expenses, you need to start generating a better profitability with trimming expenses and your cost of goods sold, and more to this that I can spend a lot of time on. But for this purpose, I just wanted to jump into that in a little bit. So let me go to the comments and then I will close up here. many business grants, but I'm not focusing on that today. It's just business grants. Just I'm not gonna name any of one right now. I have them on the top of my mind, but too many times we allude to a business grant, and I'll have a documentation on that in the description, in the bio, in the link tree. I had removed that. I have to add it back. But you guys can look through those, view them. There will be multiple accounts there that you guys can go through. But my question to you, Sammy, is why are you looking for a business grant? See, when I ask people a touchy question, a lot of you get backed up. Well, he's not supporting me because he's not asking me what kind of grant I want. That's not the point. That's not what I'm saying. Don't misconstrue those words, anybody. The thing is, why do you want a business grant over perhaps using your own credit? Which you shouldn't jump to right away. It should be your own savings. It should be something close nearby that you could accumulate before seeking out anything else. A business grant, yes, it's free. I get it. You can apply to that at the same time, look for something more. But why is it a business grant? That's my question. I'm going to question people when I go, why? 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 And I'm going to say very nicely, but why? See, I'm not that person to mess with. See, I know how to ask the right questions. And then I don't have to ask them because you've answered them for me without me having to ask a question. So these are the things that I read between the lines, and that's my gift as an introvert. But how much are you needing for the box truck? Yes, I do. So with no revenue in the business, you can still use your personal income. So you can verify by personal tax return. I don't want to go too deep into the actual qualifications right now, but that's another way. By W-2, pay stubs. Credit-based funding is what it'll be, though. So you have to have good to excellent credit. So good credit to begin with. If it's fair credit, then yeah, we can work on a round of things, but it won't really be optimized. And that's the problem when you start going for fair business credit cards or fair personal credit cards, and you're using up a hard inquiry. It's like you don't even get approved, or you don't get approved for enough, and then you got to wait another 90 days, 6 months to then apply for another card. It's like there's a reason why you're not getting what you want, because you don't have an optimized credit profile. But yeah, without any revenue, no income. A lot of people say stated income. And if you're looking for that, there's another round, and we can work on also business credit cards at 0% interest. Hello, how are you doing? We have a lot of familiar faces. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to get going here in a second. Thank you guys for sticking around. Got it, in 4 months. So yeah, what applies to all of this is the same thing. Whenever I run through my 3, credit, cash flow, collateral, I always tell people, if you're applying for a grant, or if you wanted a box truck, or for whatever the reason is, what can you also do in the meantime? So you could, like I've done this before myself, you go apply for something, and then in the meantime, you're working on your credit. You're working on paying off high balances. Now, how you pay off those high balances, whether I need to help with that or not, or you know the answer to it, that's another thing. But I always say, if you can combine multiple services, just understand what your repayments are. If you can't, okay, you stick to one and you work with one. It's just all about understanding what your repayment is. That's it, period. It's understanding the benefit exceeding the repayment. What is my actual repayment? Can I make these payments in the case of an adjustment? Can I make this? Can I pay the payment back? What happens if I don't pay it back? The 2 things every lender wants to know. Can you make the full payment back? And then 2, what happens if you don't? You should be held accountable, even if there are UCC liens and all this stuff. I don't know why you guys keep avoiding, I don't want a lien. Maybe you have multiple liens and you don't want to, that's another situation. But if you guys don't want liens, blanket liens, personal guarantees, I just want EIN only. Like, what is this? Like, why are you guys only looking, EIN only loans don't really exist. They're very seldom, and there's people out there promoting it like it's some big fantasy or some big like take it or leave it. Like, my video got 300,000 views and I'm going to attract the people who are viewing EIN only. I never even had it in my mind when I got into this industry. EIN only, get that crap out of here. And it was like EIN only loans. like EIN credit, trade credit, but looking for an EIN only business loan, and there's a lot that comes to that. And even the highest cash flowing businesses struggle to get that. And it's not even easy to get. It's very rare, seldom that happens. Kamal, how are you doing? It's good to see you again. I want to read this out loud. Kamal always has great things to say. I remember people, okay? So here, he said, earn the money. That's it. That's all I got to say. I don't have to say the rest of it. Earn your money. And YOUR in caps locks. What are you going to do to earn your dinero? You don't got to be ruthless. You don't always got to outcompete your competitor, or you got to have the next shiny project or shiny product because they don't have it. It's you they're after. It's not the product. It's the person behind the product. It's the person behind the why of that product and that business. That's why. Why do you think Walmart didn't thrive when it was in an exchange with another CEO? Amazon, how do you think it's thriving? Well, yeah, it's been built, but there's more. People resonate with your why you're doing it, for a cause of change. Why you? Why your business? I don't care if you're making $200,000 a month. If I damn well speak to you and I'm going to help you even deeper, I also want to know why you. It's not an interview, but I want to know why you. Why Kamal? Why Jesse? Why Juan? Why you? Okay, you first, but then second, why you and your reputation in your business? Can you double it? See, I don't just invest. Oh, I have the greatest idea coming up. Who cares? I don't care if it's making $1 million, $2 million. Who am I getting into bed with is what I want to know. But more so, who's the person? Credit aside, all that. Okay, character. That's what I care. Character. We're not going to get into credit reports and stuff. Okay, that's one part. You don't even know how to manage your funds correctly. Well, how am I going to invest in somebody who can't even manage their funds, even on a micro level, on a macro level? How am I supposed to give somebody money that doesn't even show me proof of being able to have aged history, for one? For two, it's such a great idea, but who are they? Does that make sense? And let me read the rest of it. Learn to earn. That's the next point. First, earn the money. Earn your money. Two, learn to earn. That's where I want us to pause right now. Learn to earn. How many of you go out there and just earn to learn? I guess there's a point of that, and you're looking at it from the back way of doing it. And there's a place for it. But you got to learn. You got to be in there. You got to be in the trenches. You got to make those mistakes. You have to learn how to make those mistakes. You got to learn how to do things over and over without making any income. You got to be the one. If you got to be the one doing the work, do the work. But for a lot of you, it's like, I have people even in this field who I don't even trust. Like other brokers, like you call yourself a broker. You call yourself an agent. You hired a mass team of telemarketers and that's what you do. Let me question your knowledge. Let me ask you if you know your stuff really without looking. Don't look at a document. I don't want you to look at a document. You don't got to look at that. I don't have to. For the most part, I don't have to look at those things. So I'm going to question somebody and I go, yeah, I get it. But at the same time, I would never want to give you my business. You haven't earned it. You haven't earned it with also giving me your why. Like when I ask somebody, if I'm going to give you my business, if a realtor, why you? I want to know. I don't need to know you 100%. Usually I don't want to get to know you 100%, at least in the beginning. But why am I investing in you? Like you think I'm investing in a home, but I'm having to invest in you. And I don't have to be chattering and speaking about it. I know how to get it out of somebody without saying much. See, as a Libra, I'm not a verbal communicator. I'm a body language, facial expression communicator. That's how we are. How we flirt is with our expressions. I don't have to say much. I don't have to be the best looking person in that room, but guess what? I'll probably be the best minded in that room in terms of safeguarding and growing growth mindset and a lot more. Learn to earn, then use good debt of business line of credit. Yes, you do want to use a business line of credit. That's where I would always suggest most people start with. Now, if it comes in the revolving line of credit through a business credit card, that's a different situation. But yes, everybody's in a different place if they can or can't get approved for a business line of credit. To leverage and grow your business, etc. Yeah, exactly. But people, like, come on, not you, but a lot of people, they find themselves taking out these like massive merchant cash advances and they just end up using it to pay other advances. And it's like, you already have a bad way of using money. Are you serious? Like, you're taking money, you're growing revenue, but how do you justify this money? That's not making sense to me or anybody. You can tell me any day of the week, I need money for this, for that, for this. I see the vision, but where are we here? You just missed out on all this. Now, Kamal or somebody else, I go, okay, information here. This can be doable. This is another route he can take. If he wanted to do this first, like right now, I'm working with a lady who we could do an SBA, a bank term loan because they don't want to offer up collateral, an online bank term loan. And then we can then look at refinancing a little bit down the road, maybe 6 months later, depending on what she gets approved for and so forth. And if she's not comfortable with that position too, because there's usually a UCC lien and a few things added, then we may have to do a medium to higher rate service because she also needs to pay off other things in her business. But in that point of view, she looks at it and goes, I'm going to use 35% of this to pay off some, I'm going to use to refinance, consolidate, but the rest of it I'm going to be using for growing and expanding. So it has to make sense, or else you guys are going to be crying and complaining, oh, get medium to high rates, and you guys are going to be listening to a crowd of people who don't know what they're talking about, period. That's really what it is. I like that though. Thank you, Kamal. Hello, how are you doing? Not at all. I didn't take that as ignorance. Ignorance to me is a different definition. Ignorance to me is somebody who... There's many ways of classifying it. I can even classify it in terms of funding and in different aspects. It's like somebody who says they're a hater. Like, can you define to me what a hater is? There's so many angles and definitions of that. People use words too loosely. Too many of you use the word cap. Like, that word sucks. I hate when people use the word cap. Or use this like derogatory remarks on stuff. I'm not one of those to do that. But ignorance is really somebody who can't learn after somebody has been preached to over and over, and they're just ignorant and unaccepting of the truth, the facts presented to them. And there's many ways of defining ignorance. That's just one way I can look at it as. But there are many more. I'm not reading it by the Webster Dictionary, but the same thing, it's you're ignorant. You're leaving in with, you're being hard-headed, and you're not allowing these three things. When you're not ignorant, or when you're ignorant, you don't allow for being open-minded. Really, you don't. You can tell me otherwise, and I won't agree with you. You can be somebody who doesn't allow for feedback when it's asked for. You're not patient. Ignorance bleeds into patience. So if you're consistently ignorant, that's what ends up happening. And so how do you learn to earn? Let me move up here really quickly and I'll come back to you, Kamal. And that's a very good question. See, that's not ignorance. I'm open to learning. See, somebody who's ignorant can be open to learning, but at the same time, they're just very closed-minded. They're like stubborn, ignorant. They're just, they're like a rhino or like a hippo. Have you seen a hippo? When somebody comes into your territory, I get it. You're home, you try to safeguard that. But hey, some people got to share the water, isn't it? You got to go to a beach. You got to share the water with people. Don't shed a tear. Don't complain. Share the water. Is your name on the water, Mr. Hippo? Is your name tattooed somewhere on your body that says here's? So, learning to earn can mean so many different things. I can go into this subject forever. take the time to learn. Like right now, you guys are learning from me in aspects of funding. I can talk about digital marketing and all the other stuff that comes with it. But right now, you guys are learning about different funding. Like earlier, if you guys didn't join me, I was speaking about longer terms. I spoke about bank term loans, FDIC bank term loans, online bank term loans, lines of credit, SBA loans. I pretty much reversed the process from the top to the bottom. But whatever questions, whatever doubts you guys have, feel free to present them to me. And like reading a book, this is one of my favorite books here too, and I've read many of them. But like Start With Why, I've reread this book a couple of times and I've looked through it, and I usually reflect on a specific chapter just to remind me of the day I'm going through. And if there's another book that I need to read that'll help me within my day, then I end up reading through it. Like Atomic Habits. Look at this. This is how you learn to earn. If you guys want to know a book that I reread, maybe not reread, you guys don't want to know how much times, but way too many times. Atomic Habits. That's a book I recommend you guys read every single time, and set a space and time and go through different content and review from the right people and immerse yourself into somebody's ecosystem enough, and don't make a decision based on, well, this guy didn't help me. How many times can I tell you that people on my email list go, well, if there's nothing for me, why do you keep emailing me? And I'm educating you, smart. I'm educating you. See, you can't see the light of day, but that's what I'm here for. I'm here to give you that. If you don't want to be on the list, feel free to unsubscribe. I can unsubscribe you if you want. It's not going to hurt me. It's just going to hurt that you don't have now somebody who can lead you the right way. You're going to go to somebody who's going to just send you off to someone, and you're going to be like, oh, well, good enough. I'm tired. I don't want to keep looking for more. I just had to do this. I just had to click a link and go over here to this lender. I don't know how many times I hear that. Appreciate you. Thank you, Kamal. And he said it very well, and the way he said it. See, I pay attention to words. So he said sad, in caps locks, addressing the pain of this. That's where it's coming from. Pain to pleasure, but this is pain. Moving away from pain. Sad to see what is going on out there, and it really is. In so many different ways. So many different ways. Not on the business level, but so many different things. Appreciate you. Thank you. Yeah, you guys need that trust. You guys need somebody who's loyal. So trust is one thing, but you got to be loyal, or you're out the door, period. I don't care if you're, again, this comes back to 5 million, 10 million. I can give about your $10 million business. I had somebody in Newport not too long ago. Newport, like maybe thinking he was some kind of hot shot. And they were ending up like being a backstabber. That's what I classify somebody like that. They're a backstabber. And I had a lady recently who I didn't deserve any of it. My real estate investor friend connected me with her, and he felt like he was backstabbed. And he told her, or he told me, and he probably told her already, hey, I'm not working with you anymore. Enough is enough. And he's one of the best in the real estate space in what he does. And I felt very bad for him, and I felt for myself. And I said, I tried to help her. And it's like you went to a doctor that told you what you should and shouldn't do, yet you did whatever you wanted to anyways. And you went to another doctor without us knowing. It's like, that's not good. Consult with us about this if you need to, before you go ahead and pull the trigger on accepting something. Now, if you're in a dire need, you only know, and I can ask you why you needed the money, but it's beyond the fact now I could care less, because you backstabbed. You didn't just put a knife, you put a sword in my back. You put a sword in my friend's back. That's not good. I don't care what kind of business owner you are. I care about the type of person I'm working with first. A lot of you got to get that in your head and get this whole like, well, I'm just trying to build a business and you're working 40 to 80 hours a week. And I get that. There's a time for that. I was doing that for a long time. Believe me, I was doing that for a freaking long time. And I wake up at 4 in the morning when I had a 9 to 5, and I would work from 4 to about, 4 o'clock, 4:30, I would say. Finally get there, I'd do a few things. So 4:30 to about 7:30. So I had about 2 to 3 hours or so to put my head down, and I worked. And I was blogging. I was doing a health business, and I was blogging a lot. And I was creating content all across the web out there. And I was doing it over and over. And when I got home for about an hour or two in the evening, guess what I would do? You but I would do that. I close the doors, work for about an hour, probably look at some finances, and then come back. But for a lot of you, it's like, oh, I'm tired. I just want to watch my television. But you don't get me. Like, why should I get you? Why should I be with you when you're going to act like that? See, you don't want somebody to drag you down. You want somebody who's going to bring you up. No, you thought I was going to say drag you up. You want somebody to bring you up. You want to stop being that person over here who's just like weighing somebody else down. And it's time that you guys start getting detached from that perception of I have to convince. I'm not here to convince. If you're convincing somebody, you're not doing what you should be doing in your business, period. If you're there to convince somebody, you have no business being in business. Don't convince somebody to do something. Whether they want to or not, you're not there to convince in the way you think you should convince. Got it. Yeah, learn to apply your skills that you learn to sell your skills. And so many times I did that. I was like putting my skills out there for lead generation. I ran a lot of ads, Facebook and Google ads for a lot of business owners. I still do from time to time. Kind of just limited it a little bit to friends and certain closer family. And so I've done things like this over and over again, applied those skills, built websites out. I built my own websites. Like literally, that's been like in the back in the days, I'd spend till like 1 a.m. I don't know why, but yeah, it was justified. But I had this passion, I had this desire to learn it myself. A lot of you go, let me outsource it here, let me outsource it. There's a place and a time to outsource. But I'm not like that. In the beginning, I wasn't. I couldn't be. I had to build my Google ads. I'm Google Ads certified, by the way. And I have other certifications out there. But see, I don't need to hire an agency to do what I know how to do. See how many emails I get every single week? Your SEO is this, your SEO is that, and okay, prove to me that you can. Or so I don't even respond back. Like 99.99% of those people who respond back or who send me an email, I don't really, unless it really catches my attention, and I'm like, I really do need that. And normally I don't still. Yes, I know. I remember you were bringing this up to me too, Kamal, on the selling aspect. Which, by the way, how's all that going? I know it's been some time since then. Yeah, and it's nothing bad to wear multiple hats. You're in a place right now where, especially in the startup phases, where you do have to do just about everything and anything. You don't even have the financial team set in place. You're all operations, you're all finance, you're all product. So it's like you got to do everything. You got to be at the job site. You got to make sure you're sending people to the general contractors or whatever it is you're doing. They're not paying you on time. There's just so much. I've been there. I know what it's like. So you just got to learn how to prioritize is really it. Like you got to look for that one domino that's going to cause a massive flood to go in your favor. You're just going to say, hey, I'm going to knock down this big domino, and then this one's going to knock down everything else. So focus on what is that's generating you the highest return on that investment. And ask yourself why it is. It's most important to ask why that is. And when you ask why that is, if you don't have this built up yet, then you can work backwards from it and say, here's my processes, here's my systems, here's my automation that gets me to that. So if you generated a result, which I did some time ago, when I ran an ad or an SEO campaign, I would go, okay, I did have this, but I need to change my system now because I generated these results. I needed to actually make it more simple. So these are the things I do every single day, guys. You guys don't see it on my back end, but I'm split testing everything, looking at the data, engineering it, and systems and all this stuff, pretty much. And it's a constant love. You guys have to fall in love with that. That's what I love about all this. It's the whole back end stuff. It's the whole system here. I built this landing page. Like I thought the other day, if I move this here, if I tweak this on my page, it would give me a better conversion, or I can split test that against this campaign. or I'm going to leave this as a standalone. I'm going to filter people from when they click here, their psychology is here, and then I'm going to have them see the top level, and then after the top level, boom, they can click here is where I want them to funnel them into. Now they're going to funnel into this page, and then from that page, then they're going to click this link at precisely around this time, about 30 seconds after they watch a 10-minute video. If it's not 10-minute videos, what is it? Or blog post. Boom, 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 boom. And then even if they drop off, how do I know what to do thereafter? So these are all the things that I'm doing. Exactly. Kamal said it correctly, and I've known this. He knows this very well. He knows I know this. You do have to identify what are you really good at that someone wants. Exactly. Just identify, and you may not have exactly those skill sets tuned, but you do something well enough for a long enough time, you'll know how to transmit what you know to someone else and how to effectively cause that belief, but also cause somebody to purchase, cause somebody to follow through with an offer. So you can apply your skills. There's so many examples of it, but I'm not going to go into all of that right now. Yeah, and you can start with like really good. Doesn't have to mean a skill set per se. It can mean just, hey, are you good at breeding dogs? Are you good at paintballing? See what I mean? Like that can then become a skill set. A interest can then become a passion. It doesn't have to be necessarily a passion to begin with, but that interest and then how you transmit that information to someone, that's where the real skill set comes in. How you deliver on the message, what kind of message, and then you're looking at it in backwards and going, how am I filtering this in? What are the words that are causing those results? So all these things, and I can go on and on about all this neuro-linguistic programming and how you do it ethically. I don't never do it like in a bad way. It has to make sense. I don't mind that. If he wants to book a session for free, feel free to with Kamal. A lot of the times I like to tell people not to quote unquote promote themselves, but for that one I'm okay with. Nice, congratulations on that. Yeah, that's a big feat too. Yeah, that's really good. Yeah, I've had my own successes too. Very happy about them. There's a few of them that I wish I would have with a specific service. Exactly. Yeah, that's a good place to go into. But you also have to understand the market. Yeah, and have you sold any, of course. And that's going to lead down, okay, that's going to lead down a lot more questions. How many have you sold? What's the cost per unit? Like, we can go on and on about that. I don't want to make it about that right now, though. I'm going to end the video here in less than about a minute or two. Yeah, and Kamal knows this. He can ask more questions on how many have you sold? What does it cost to create this? Cost of goods sold? So you can go on and on about this subject. Nice. You see, I can ask you a lot of questions on that. Like, is there one specific design that you do more than anything else? Or is it like 6 different designs that you're giving away to people? Because you can package it. That's the good thing. What you're doing, if it comes in a set too, and you can give people like one or multiple, add 2 mugs, 3 mugs, 4 mugs. It just depends on how you package it. Packaging your product, it's very, very important. It's very, very important, guys. It's like the same thing when somebody gets you a supplement. What happens when you guys purchase a supplement? Not from, well, Amazon, one thing, but you guys go to a landing page. Hey, we'll give you 1 supplement for $9.95, and we'll ship you a free bottle. And then guess what? on the second page, hey, why not give you 3 bottles for just double the price? Well, you're thinking of the math. You go, if it's $9.95 for one, wouldn't that be about $28 for all 3? And then you go $18 plus a free bottle? Well, you got to learn how to position these things. And I've sold a lot of supplements, vitamins in that space. Seat cushions, I'm sitting on them right now. Here's one that I have behind me. One more seat cushion. Plenty of those. See, yeah, focus on one though. Don't focus on creating more. Focus on what you can right now. I think Kamal would be on the same page. I mean, you can for exploring and you want to test the market. Exactly. Yes. Kamal's right on that. I'm not one to like to say the word sell. I think Kamal knows that. I do it well, but it's not like I don't like to use that word for me. I just don't know what it is. It's just selling, sell. It's like it's not my thing. Although I know we have to. Just depends on how you do it. But yeah, just pre-sell. And there's more to that. That's something that I can help with as well. I have no problem with helping people on it. The thing is, if you do have variety in designs, that can help in the future. It's like the same thing when you're a contractor who's focused, or you're a plumber. You're only focused on plumbing, but then you can also do roofing. Well, you just started a week ago in plumbing. Now you're doing roofing. So what you'll also realize is once you focus on that one, focus on selling as much of that. But you do want to have other designs because people will start asking for them. And then you can even bundle those in with more. Sometimes people will go, hey, can I have one of this and one of that? Or hey, you can get a full set of 6 of these with a different design. And what is going to happen is now those are going to be more valuable to the person. So what you're doing is you're feeding into, well, you need to know about the person, of course, like Kamal alluded to earlier. You need to know your clientele first and foremost. Like if they like a specific design, they want Spider-Man or whatever, it could be anything. A kid, it's going to be very memorable for them. You got to know your market. So if you're selling to an older group, or what's the psychographic of that group? What's the sample size? If you took a sample size from what you're working with, can you turn that into a nominal, a larger group? But yes, focus on what you're doing now. Get that out as much as you can. Track these things. You can have an Excel spreadsheet to track all of this stuff with certain numbers. I'm not going to go into all that right now. But for X, Y, and Z product, or for X amount of products, for X amount of clientele, this is my return, or this is how much they're being sold for. This is how much I'm profiting from. Okay, once you start doing it in volume, then you can really start to understand those numbers better. So I'm not going to ask you about the pricing on it, but just understand that. Know how much you're selling it for, what you're gaining, what does it cost to create, know your margins, know your profits from those. And then, yeah, like you said, just do it over and over. You're still at the beginning stages. And so target your market. Like if I asked you, who's your actual target market? Who's your dream customer? Who's the person you're going after? Would you be able to tell me that? Like, would you be able to tell me precisely what problems do they go through every day? What pain do they go through? What questions? What roadblocks? Obstacles? What are the actual results they want? Is it really the mug that they're after? Or they're like, hey, I'm just trying to buy this. Like you're targeting an adult, but the adult is just trying to buy it for their kid. You're trying to target the moms, but it's the actual kids. But the kid can't make that purchase. You can't always influence directly the kid, but you could influence the mother. See, there are many ways. Sounds good, Kamal. Appreciate you. Okay, I think this is where I do want to end it, though. I gotta get going. I gotta go on my... Can you guys believe I gotta go buy a new sweater? I'm gonna go out on a walk. I'm gonna go out on a jog. Sun just came out. I need to go out, depressurize my mind from what week it's been. A lot of good things, but a lot of clients who are just like they're lost in space. And I'm here to help, but a lot of them, they can't even help themselves at that point after what I've given them. And it's like, really? I had a guy just earlier today just send me a text that was uncalled for. He said something like, he said the F word. Like, I'm like, what did I do wrong? Like, I didn't do nothing. I didn't respond. I didn't want to. Sometimes it's better not to, not the word trigger. It's better not to say something to something, because that will then come back in an even nastier way that you don't need. So I'm looking at this and I'm like, what did I do to deserve that? Why are they feeling the way that they're feeling? So that wasn't something that's my problem. It could be something that they were just not getting approved for. It was something that they weren't happy for. And I'm being very honest with you guys. Like, I did not cause anything that would cause them to be angry. I'm like, why is that being put to me? Somebody in an email not too long ago says, I need $1 million line of credit. Yeah, so does everybody else in this world. And if I don't get this, and I don't get this, and I don't get this, they came with their list of demands. And I had a conversation with the lender of mine for something else, and I brought this up, and then they were like laughing about it. They're like, when people have a list of demands, I know this, they didn't even have to tell me. When people have a list of demands, just push them aside. Just don't work with them, because no matter how much you try to tell them something, they're so stubborn, like very stubborn, and they make my life a living HE double L hockey sticks. So you got to be careful on those people. People already come triggered. You're already putting a hard-headed person with a hard-headed product that you didn't want to, but you know you had to, because it's the only thing they can get. They can't get this. They can't get that. So I don't want to do it. I don't want to be that person. I don't mean to be that person, but I have to show them what this is. I've told people who are like salespeople, like, a lot of what salespeople do don't get to me. Like, it just doesn't. Like, I can read through those things before even they say a word. Like, I'm really that person who can hear what isn't being said. There's a pause. The next words that they say, okay, I know why they say it the way they said it, or it makes sense to me in a certain way. That's part of it. It's privileged. It's just, you really can't put the words on it. And it's just so much. It's a lot, guys. Like, I do a lot. And I know you guys appreciate that stuff too. And there's a lot of people who don't. And when I go away from this at the end of the week, like, I don't cry about it. It's just like, I try to help so many people, and it's so sad that they can't even help themselves. It really does bleed into me. I even get like a shockwave sometimes, and I go, if these people only were to change their attitude and their effort, because those are the two things that they can control, and they realize these things, then they would be in better position to move forward, instead of always complaining and crying about something and then putting the name and blaming somebody. It's not my fault. Appreciate you. Yeah, and I've said that I think it's because of my do more than I speak personality as an introvert. Being a Libra, I think, also helps. But yeah, it's my innate behavior. And when people hear from me, I do speak slow, because I'm listening. I'm really breaking things down for people. I'm an old soul at heart. And so the problem, without the questions and all the things we're trying to figure out, the problem can still be extra residue left with the person. See, we can solve all these problems, but if we haven't solved the problem of the person themselves, honestly, none of this does matter. Like, honestly, I'm being very honest with you guys. I see it over and over and over again. Exactly. It's what it is. People don't want to work for what they have. You guys see me here popping up, Kamal. You guys see me here popping up from time to time. Right now, I'm an introvert, and I'm hurting just doing this, because I know I'm not like video type. And I know when I leave this, I'm going to be exhausted. I'm going to go walk. I'm still going to go jog. And I'm going to go enjoy the rest of what I have for today. Yeah, but work for it, guys. Nothing given is nothing appreciated. That's how I look at it. You're just giving, so you can go buy a business, but how much do you appreciate what you're getting? Do you know what you're getting yourself into? Being given the money, okay, when you're a kid, it's different. You don't have your money doing this, but when you work for something, you'll appreciate it more. You will appreciate it a lot more. You have to bleed. If somebody tells you, hey, have you guys been, I'm not a big football, I'm going to have to go in a little bit though, but really quickly. Have you guys watched any of the stuff from Coach Prime and the Colorado Buffaloes? You guys are familiar with that? See, I'm not a big football fan, but I've been following his content because of his messaging, because of what he does. I don't follow him because of football. I'm following him because of what he does and the impact he's been making where he goes. And so with what he does, he puts people through the test. Hey, if you're not willing to go and do this, heck, you're not willing to go do that. And I've coached kids. I was a Division I soccer player. At a point, that's a leaf off another tree, or that's a tree on another side. But when I coach, and if I coach kids at whatever level, adults, I'm going to challenge them. And I don't have to say it. Watch what I do, not what I say. Can you do that? Hello, how are you doing? Yes. Good question. You can. Yeah, so I think that's where I want to leave it at. You guys have all spent a good enough time here. You guys need to go. Go do things you guys got to do. Rest of your afternoon/evening, you guys got, I know, more important things to do with your family. Go out on a date. Go out with your family. Be a homebody. Go cut that grass. It's getting sunnier nowadays. It's just brightening up my day even more. See, I'm in Washington. Not even the rain, not even the cloudy days cause any kind of misjudgment on me or cause me to feel low. And it helps that I was born in California. I was born in Orange County, California. And so it's very uplifting. With me, I'm a very open-minded, positive type of person. None of that junk, none of that residue. I don't let that in my world. Okay, everybody. Thank you all for joining me. I do appreciate you all. Sorry if I did miss one of you. I'm really wiped out now. I don't want to go too beyond. You guys know I need rest. Not going to be on likely tomorrow, rest of the week. Rightfully so. I need to heal. I need to recover. I'll work tomorrow. I'll have to catch up on questionnaires. So you might give me a quick email and I might respond. Just in case you're wondering, it's not an automatic machine. Or I may not respond because I have quite a few things to get caught up on. Questionnaires, I actually have an email that just came in. Okay, just had to make sure. Yeah, I could tell. I know quite a few people out there too. Lenders and team members actually that I'm working with. But yeah, you too. Thank you. Appreciate you. And thank you all. Kamal and everybody else in here that I didn't say per name. I appreciate each and every one of you. I always do. And I will see you all in the next one. Take care.